what I didn't know is how accomplished you are. And you had a whole shipment of gym equipment and all of that coming. And you started us on this journey. And we met. You were so kind to us. We met in our friend's compound, and we had little silly dumbbells. I think they were pink.
We're going to have to put up those pink dumbbells up here on the screen. Yeah.
Or I don't even know whether they were 5 kilos.
Actually,
but
when she said we're going to meet, she's like, no, I have weights. So I
weights.
didn't carry.
Actually, she said weights.
Yeah, she said I have weights. So I didn't carry my weights because y'all had weights. So you come, and she comes running
with our little weights, feeling very excited and feeling very pumped for this and very accomplished. You were the kindest person, because thinking about it now, I'd have been busting out laughing if I was you. Like, oh, that's what you call weights.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm your host, Roseanne Kamau, a certified nutrition coach with a background in psychology. Here on Hey Sugar Podcast, you will learn how to live a healthy and sustainable lifestyle without dieting. I'll be teaching you practical tips that you can incorporate in your unique lifestyle. I am going to help you break any dieting mindset traps and show you that a healthy and sustainable lifestyle is doable. So if you're ready to change your life for good and create a healthy and sustainable lifestyle for yourself, then this is for you. Let's go.
Now, if you've been going through any form of transitions, this is the episode for you. If you're looking to be healthy, this is an episode for you, because you're getting 2 in 1. Now, today's episode, we have a guest who is a dear friend of mine. Now, we connected about, I will say 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, 10 years ago. And you will hear from her, you will hear her story, and you will see why she's actually not only become one of my best friends here in Kenya, but you will hear her wisdom and knowledge. And I want you to stay here and listen in, because you will be able to understand your journey if you're transitioning, if you have kids who are transitioning in any area of their lives. If you would like some form of help in your marriage, I mean, she's like does it all. But first, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about her wellness journey, because that is how we connected. And so I am so excited to welcome Irene Mumo to our Hey Sugar podcast. Welcome, Irene.
Thank you, Roseanne.
And thank you for coming. This is actually our second episode together.
Yes.
Because the first episode we talked about was on boundaries. And we're actually going to link below, because a lot of people were like, yes, help me on boundaries. But first and foremost, hey, how you doing, girl?
I am doing great. What a pleasure to be here today. Woo, you're set, man. Girl.
Listen,
I love it.
And thank you for coming again.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of your episode is one of those episodes that actually has done really well. And so folks want to hear more from you. And that's why I wanted to bring you back again, so that you can tell us more about you, what you've been doing, because you've also morphed since that last episode. So before we even get started, who's Irene? Who are you?
Irene is many things. I wear many hats. The usual hats are mom and wife. The professional hats are I'm a transitions counselor, life transitions coach and counselor. And there's a difference between coaching and counseling and therapy.
Oh, and maybe you can tell us what that is. Yes.
The difference.
I mean, since you said there's a difference, let's just dive in. What's the difference?
Yeah. A coach walks with you and helps you to come up with strategies for change. A counselor works with more significant issues that you might be dealing with in your transition journey. For example, if you're working with me as a life transitions coach, a therapist works with pain. If there are painful things, painful memories, painful background, that's what a therapist does. So I am more of a coach and counselor, and I can refer to more therapeutic help if someone needs it. Yeah, but that's me. And I work with people in life transitions. There are many, many transitions in life. Anything can be a transition. Geographical move can be a transition. But life itself provides 7 basic transition moments.
7
seasons. 7 seasons.
Do you want to tell us what the 7 are?
Yeah.
I want to know.
So just the fact that you were born means you went through the first major life transition. The birthing process is a transition.
For the mother or for the baby?
For both.
For both, okay.
Child is coming out of the fluid, the amniotic fluid, into a world where it's no longer warm, no longer automatic feeding from mom. That's a huge transition. And if you think about it, many kids don't even transition well. They die sometimes during birth. Yes. So transitions are marked by, I don't want to say death, but death can happen if the transition is not handled well. And it can be physical death, emotional death, mental death, all sorts of death, spiritual death. Yes. So transitions are very, very significant. They have to be handled really well. Okay. So that's the first life transition. The mom is also transitioning. If you have never been a mother, that's your first ever opportunity to be a mom. Then the child goes, so we'll go with the child because that's the birth to death. Okay. We're looking at that. Okay. The second major transition for a child is toddlerhood. Okay. They're moving away from mom. In fact, toddling means moving away, going away, finding, experiencing. And if you think about it, a lot of homes with toddlers, they've plugged their sockets, they've gated their staircases so that the child doesn't fall because they're exploring away from mom. That's a transition. It can be very risky. Children fall. All sorts of things happen. But if it's handled well, it's fine.
Can I chime in there?
Yeah, sure.
I know a very close relative of mine when he was a toddler. Toddled away?
Yeah.
No, what you said, toddler?
Yeah, toddling. Yeah.
So he toddled away.
Yeah.
And put his hand in boiling water. And so has a scar.
Oh,
so that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
The toddling.
Transitions can leave you with scars.
And transitions can leave you with scars.
They can leave you with scars. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Which can be good scars of I survived it.
Yes.
I survived the transition. The next major transition is this child now is growing and gets into the teen years. Teenage is a famous transition. Many good choices, but many bad choices can be made in transition. Yes. That's the age of sexuality, the age of substance use, the age, so many things happen in that transition. But some teenagers transition well, right? The next big one is post-college, post-university, you're no longer in school, you're no longer at home. The who am I transition happens at quarter life. It's actually called a quarter life transition. And it can cause a crisis. It doesn't have to. But there's a quarter life transition that happens when you're figuring out, where will I work? Where will I live? Will I get married? Who will I marry? A lot of questions that you have to answer for yourself. That's a major transition. Are we at number 4? The fifth one is midlife. That's a major one. Yeah. It's often known as the midlife crisis. Yes. It doesn't have to be a crisis. No, if it's well informed, it can be a transition. It has to happen. And you're coming to 40-ish and you're wondering, is that it? What am I about? So the second half of life has to be handled with a lot of care. And that's a transition. The next one is the retirement transition. Okay. If you're in active work, employment, it's a major one. And sometimes it's not handled well. And sometimes people are you retire and tomorrow what do I do? What do I wake up to? And the crazy thing is sometimes you're retiring at 65, but you're going to live until 90. So what are you going to be doing? There has to be a reason for you to wake up every morning until you're 90. That's a good 30 years. So that transition
or
is
even
important.
100 or even 100.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, if you're living well and eating healthy, you're living long. The 7th transition is death. Now, death is an interesting transition because it can happen at any point in the lifespan. It can happen at any, but it is a transition. It is a transition. So those are 7 life-based transitions. There are other non-age-based transitions like marriage. Some people get married at 20, some people get married at 40. So that can happen anyway. It's not age-based and it's not a must. Not everybody gets married. The other non-age-based transition is parenting.
Oof.
That one again can happen at any point, and not everybody becomes a parent, but it is a transition. You're bringing life and you're changing. Now,
your life changes.
Yes. Now, the thing about transitions is even when other people in your life are transitioning, that their transition affects you. If you have a teenager, their transition affects you.
And this is actually now how we're going to marry all
Yeah.
this together, because
Right.
I was in a transition
Mm-hmm.
when I moved geographically from the
There you
States and we
go.
moved to Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's actually how we connected,
Mm-hmm.
because I started coaching and I
That's right.
started doing wellness.
Yeah.
And I like to call you client 002.
Two. We know who 001
We know who
is.
001 is. When we say you are 002.
Absolutely.
And that's how we connected. And so the
Mhm.
question is, if I would have looked at you,
Mhm.
and I think this is where the conversation is really going to become interesting, I wouldn't have said, okay, why is she coming to work with me? Why did you decide you wanted us to work together? What was that driving force for you?
I think you found me at that point of life questioning myself,
Mm.
questioning how I live, wondering if I'm doing the right things. And I'm so glad we met because I was at that point in my own midlife transition and thinking, I need to exercise, I need to eat, but I don't know what's the right thing. And reading through journals or listening to information, there's a lot of information about what to eat, what not to eat, what diet, the fads, and the confusion was a lot. And I needed to just know, should I not lift weights? Do women lift weights? Should they lift weights? Will I become muscular? Will I look like a man? I don't want to look like a man.
We don't want to look like a man. No, we want to look like us. Yeah.
So you found me in that transition
Yeah.
of questioning myself and wondering what's the right thing to do? Who will help me out? Who can I talk to? And I think that, especially the physical exercise, that space is at that point was very male dominated.
Yes.
And finding a woman who lifts weights, who exercises, was the freshest breath of air for me.
Why? And why was that? Because what exactly were you looking for? Here you're in a transition and you are thinking about being healthy. What was that catalyst for you to get you or cause you to start thinking, I want to become more healthy? I'm really thinking about this. I'm reading more about it. What was that catalyst for you?
Oh, you know what midlife does to you?
Oh, tell me.
It makes you start face your mortality. It's the realization, wait, I'm not going to live forever. And I want to live well. I have made mistakes in my past. I want a do-over. And then realizing there is no do-over, but there's the voice in you that says, but we can do better. We can live better. We can make better choices. That midlife transition, as any other transition, you start grappling with a lot of existential questions. Who am I? What am I about? What am I going to do? How can I do things better? So finding someone who could help me walk through those answers and allow me to be physically better so that I could be mentally better, so that I could be emotionally better, because what we eat, how we live really does affect how we're living our whole lives.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was just a critical point for me. I needed answers. I was asking questions.
That is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I love that, because when you think about the 20-year-old, the 30-year-old, when I was that age, I thought, I have the rest of my life.
Living forever,
I'll live forever. Listen, I was going to die. When you'd hear someone is 50 when I was younger, I was like, they're old, right? And so midlife, what it does, and I really think that's, you've actually hit the nail on the head, because that's when this year, because I turned 50 this year.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened to me. I think as soon as you said that, it sort of becomes that
existential.
Existential. Okay, just FYI, because she's my friend now. Okay, she's the girl who will just throw words at you and I'll be like, girl, what does that mean?
You're so kind.
No, for real. So these existential questions. So you started that a little bit younger.
Yeah.
Because for me, this is when I find myself actually asking those questions in this season within my midlife. So you started it a little bit earlier and you're thinking, okay, I want to do better.
I want to do better.
So we come in and then what happens?
Well, so you,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. So we meet in a forum where our daughters were doing gymnastics
Together.
And client 001 and I had been having these conversations about we need to work out. Not today, tomorrow. Let's start on Monday. We're always starting on Monday, right? Let's start at the beginning of the month.
Always starting on Monday.
It's always starting on Monday. Let's just do all the crazy things and then Monday, clean break. Anyway, so we meet you and all our daughters were in this gymnastics class. And I don't know how we came up with a conversation about working out. And you said very modestly, Roseanne, you said, you know what, I could kind of help you girls. I have one or two ideas of how we could do that. We could start together. What I didn't know is how accomplished you are. And you had a whole shipment of gym equipment and all of that coming. And you started us on this journey. And we met. You were so kind to us. We met in our friend's compound, and we had little silly dumbbells. I think they were pink.
No, we're going to have to put up those pink dumbbells up here on the screen, y'all. Yeah.
Or little, I don't even know whether they were 5 kilos.
Actually,
but
when she said we're going to meet, she's like, no, I have weights. So
have weights.
Didn't carry.
Actually, she said weights.
Yeah, she said I have weights. So I didn't carry my weights because y'all had weights. Y'all had weights. So you come, and she comes running
with our little weights, feeling very excited and feeling very pumped for this and very accomplished. Yeah. You were the kindest person, because thinking about it now, I'd have been busting out laughing if I was you. Like, oh, that's what you call weights. Yeah. But you did not. You took us as we were, and you started working with us. Yeah. And my life has forever changed from that day. My life, my eyes were open to what is it, the unpacking of what fitness and wellness means, that it's sustainable, that it can be done, that it's a lifestyle. It's not a thing you do and then you stop and then you start after Christmas having eaten too much. And then it's a sustainable lifestyle. And so it was very exciting when you gave us sustainable rules for living. Yes. How can you do this? How can this be sustainable? How can this be woven into your life as a woman, as a mom, as a wife, as a career person? How can it be done? Because often there's just no time. Yes. But the ways in which you taught and you opened my eyes was life-changing. That's all I can say. Yeah.
And so one of the things that you came back and talked to me was after we'd started working together and you started implementing the stuff at home. In fact, and I want you to share with what your husband said, because one of the things that your husband said was, now he knows that you're working out, you're doing this whole life change. Right. And because you had said you were seeing all this conflicting information, what did your husband say? Because I think that for me is what stuck with me. Yeah. He said something to the effect.
I can say it.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Can I just say it?
Yeah, please do.
He said, this woman is legit.
Legit, yeah.
This woman is legit. This is doable. This is doable. It was just one of those. Yes. And it's true. Yeah. You are legit. You have walked with not just me, but many countless women. Yeah. And I have seen results.
Okay. Yeah. So that legitness comes from the sustainability.
Yes.
So what shifted in your home makeup? Were you eating different from your husband, your kids? Like, can you explain that or paint that picture? Because I know there's that woman who's saying, okay, I'm like Irene, I'm busy. I am in the same, I want to finish well. I may have made mistakes in the past, but now moving forward, I want to finish well. So paint that picture for that woman who is watching and she's thinking, okay, how did that actually look like?
You know, the funny thing is, it was not a shift of diet or different foods that we eat or even shop. It wasn't. It was same foods. Yeah. How do you constitute your plate? Yes. And it benefits everyone, benefits the kids, benefits the husband, benefits me, benefits my house worker. It's good for everyone. And because it wasn't a special diet, we were just rethinking proportions. We were rethinking the plate, how to plate your food. We were rethinking what to eat before a workout, for example. Yes. Same stuff, same shopping list, but just thinking about it differently and planning your meals and also just thinking about what's the week like? What do I need to put into my body? And just being a conscious eater. Is that a word?
It is. It has been a mindful eater, been a conscious eater.
Being a conscious, mindful eater. What am I putting in? How is it helping me? Yeah, those were the things.
So what I'm hearing is I hear planning. Yeah. I hear being mindful. I hear incorporating everybody within the family.
Absolutely.
And that's why it became legit. Like it's a legit process to focus on. So once you started that, and this is not why I say what the husband said. Yeah. Now, you guys teach young adults. Yes. And you teach young adults in a program known as 30 by 30.
Correct.
30 things we wish we knew
by the time we were
30 years old. And so after Irene vetted me and her husband finally said I was legit.
She's legit.
Because this program, I think, is one of the programs I say every young person who is under 30, and in fact, even in our 30s, because I've gone through it, has said it's legit and it's helped me. And so what I want us to do is I want you to quickly tell us, because I want us to transition into takeaways, where I want us to talk more about it. And as we're transitioning into takeaways, what is 30 by 30? Because they vetted me. This is my story, okay? Please. They vetted me and they're like, you're legit. Come and teach on condition. Come and teach on the body. Come and teach on healthy living. Come and teach these young girls these young adults.
Men and women,
it's men and women. Come and teach them about condition. Tell us a little bit about 30 by 30.
So 30 by 30 is a program that we've put together so that
who's we?
My husband and I.
Yes, yeah.
My husband and I run the program, and it's a reflective program on our part as older adults who wish people had told us certain things about life. And it answers the question, what is a full life? What is a full life? What is a balanced life? And so the program looks at 5 aspects of life. It looks at condition. Let me start with that one. And the condition covers many things. There's the physical condition, what you're eating, how you're exercising, whether you're sleeping, whether you're resting. It also looks at the spiritual condition. Where are you in your spirituality? How is that looking like? And then there's mental, emotional condition. So that's condition. That's the first C. The second C is cash flows, which we also have incorporated.
You vetted my husband.
Yes, we vetted and he passed. So he
Yeah.
does a fantastic job working with young adults on cash flows. So that's the second C of life. The third C of life is companions. And companions covers many aspects. The people you do life with. So there's a dating and marriage. And there's also marriage for those who are married. And then there's also friends and family. How do you incorporate these relationships in our lives? Because we don't live alone. We live in community. And then the fourth one. So we've got career.
Companion.
So career is the fourth one.
No, career is the fourth one.
Career is the fourth one. So career, what do you do for work? What do you do for a job? Is there a difference? How should that look like? How should that integrate your strengths and your weaknesses? And then the last one is contribution. So when you've got all of these 4 C's in place, how are you to live and give back to your community? So giving back is what's covered as contribution. So that's the basis of the 30 by 30 program. Those are the 5 pillars.
I love that.
Yeah.
And now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going into our segment of our takeaway session. Now, in our takeaway session, Irene is going to continue to share with us what her biggest takeaway has been in this lifestyle journey, in this healthy living lifestyle journey. So she's going to take us in our takeaway session, and we're going to prepare something cool so that she can tell us why is this really important when we are talking about takeaways. So as we transition into takeaways, for those of you who are watching on our podcast, you might want to come and watch this on YouTube, Coach Roseanne, so that you can see this beautiful takeaway that Irene has prepared for us. Cannot wait for us to move into the takeaway session. And welcome to our takeaway session. Now, in this takeaway session, Irene is going to be taking us through her takeaways of the program, and she's also going to be showing us what can we prepare at home that we could possibly take away as a busy woman. So, Irene, for our takeaways, can you tell us what's been one of the biggest takeaways as we think about life and we think about healthy living, sustainability? What's that biggest takeaway for you?
I think I like to do things that, first of all, are sustainable. And that give me long-term, long-running energy.
So it's all about sustainability and long-term energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this something that is sustainable?
Absolutely.
Does it give you that long-term energy? All right. Can you tell us what is here and why is this something that we can have as part of our sustainable lifestyle?
So this is my favorite breakfast meal.
Okay.
And I like to call it breakfast, but really it runs me through the day. It's a slow release energy. So we've got oats here. We've got hemp seed here. Okay. We have chia seeds. We have ground flax. And we have pumpkin seed. And then we have milk. And it can be milk, it can be soy milk, it can be whatever milk you prefer. Okay. It can also, sometimes I prefer to use natural yogurt or Greek yogurt.
Yes.
So that's a good one. But for cooking, I would use the milk.
You would use the milk,
right? And some honey to sweeten.
Some honey to sweeten, and some sweetening from also the raisins.
And the raisins.
Raisins, which is really dried grapes. Okay,
Yeah.
so with the oats here, so I typically recommend rolled oats, which is what we have here.
Right.
So you have about a cup of oats,
Right.
correct?
A cup of
so
oats.
the way you prepare it, so now you guys, I want you to assume you are at home. I want you to assume this is for those of you, if you're listening to this on the podcast, come to YouTube channel so that you can actually see visually what Irene has prepared for us. And because we are in a studio, like we just want to be real, okay? This serving bowl, I want you to assume it's a cooking pot.
It's a cooking pot.
So we want you to assume. So she's actually going to show you how to cook the meal. So we have the pot.
So I'll drop my 1 cup of oats, rolled oats.
Rolled oats, or you can also use steel cut oats. I also do not, I prefer those because again, for what she said, slow release energy, high fiber, they're carbs as well, and they give you that long energy. Fast cooking ones, they've already been pre-done for you, so those may not be as ideal for you. So I strongly recommend rolled oats or steel cut oats. Okay.
All right. So what I like to do is to cook these over a medium fire.
Okay.
In water.
In water.
Right.
Okay.
In water.
Okay.
Can I just
yes,
use
you
my
can
water?
use your water.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've got my water there.
Yep.
And I'll be cooking them over a slow fire.
Slow fire.
And then after about 3 to 5 minutes,
3 to 5 minutes.
I will then add my milk.
Okay.
If I'm using milk.
Okay.
If I am using yogurt, I don't want to cook the yogurt.
Okay.
So I'll put that later.
Okay.
But because we have milk today on the show,
Yeah.
I'll be adding milk after about 5 minutes.
Okay.
That's to thicken it because I like it thick. Some people like it watery. I
Yes.
like it thick and milky
I
and
like
creamy.
I like it thick, milky,
Right.
and creamy too. Yes.
Right. So I will add my milk
after
3
5
to 5
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing is just getting that taste in, that
Yes.
taste of a nice, creamy, smooth taste in.
Yeah.
And then I will turn off
Yeah.
the fire.
Yeah.
So we are at about 7
7
minutes
minutes now. Yeah.
In about 7 minutes,
Okay.
it's cooked. And then I'll turn off my fire. And this is the point at which I start adding my seeds and all. I don't like to cook my seeds.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to kill the nutrients.
We don't want to
in it.
kill the nutrients in there. So
Yeah.
flaxseed, by the way, the first thing we want to do with flaxseed is you want to make sure you grind it,
Right.
and you want to store it in a refrigerator so that you do not, it does not
Oxidize.
It does not oxidize. Chia seeds, the same thing, and also hemp seeds. So we're
Right.
not cooking them.
So each of these, because this is a cup,
Yeah.
I'd like to go with a tablespoon of each one of
A
them.
tablespoon of each one.
tablespoon of each one of them.
Okay.
And we're going to use my pretend tablespoon
Yeah,
here.
but we have
We
the
don't have
already
tablespoon.
no the made oatmeal, so we can make with this one.
We can make with that
Yeah?
one. Yeah, we can make with that one.
Okay.
All right.
So you guys, this is the magic of podcasting. So we already have the made oatmeal. So now we can add the milk.
Yeah.
So that it's not
It's not so dry.
so dry.
Some people like it dry. I think the final consistency is really up to you.
Yeah.
But I like to then add milk. Would be a bit too dry. I'd add my milk in it, or yogurt, or Greek yogurt.
And let me tell you why it's so important to add the yogurt and or Greek yogurt. That's another way of adding your protein in there, right?
Absolutely.
So, and it
Yeah.
also is going to hold you and fill you up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll break that up and ensure that I have my oatmeal nice and smooth and mixed in with the milk or the yogurt.
Okay, love it.
Right.
As you're doing this mixing, because I know this will take a minute, let's talk about the transitions that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I know you've helped me in was my own transition, transitions that my husband and I also have had. Why is it important for people individually and or as couples or even as friends, speak to counselors like you, speak to coaches like you to help us when we're going through our own transitions, and especially when you are having loggerheads.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I want to say, can I just say that in reflecting back,
Yeah.
your loggerheads were being caused by the actual physical moving from the US to Kenya.
Yeah.
That a lot of people underestimate. You could have had a marriage that was stable for 15 years.
Yes.
But that small, it's a huge move.
It's a huge move.
That huge move
Yeah.
can cause a lot of stress
Right,
in the marriage.
Right.
It's a transition.
It is a transition.
Moving even next door
Yeah.
is a transition.
By the way, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. because you're moving into new spaces, new
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah.
You're relating with it's a home culture, but it's changed.
It's changed because you're
It's
moving into a
changed.
new space.
Completely.
I remember, like for us, it was moving
Yeah.
into Nairobi.
Yeah.
I
New
grew up in
home.
Thika, into a new home.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh
New
my God,
schools.
new schools,
Churches.
kids transitioning also. In
Yeah.
fact, you had said earlier,
Yeah.
when kids transition, it also affects you.
Absolutely.
So, like, I remember the girls trying to fit in,
Yeah.
find new friends,
Yeah.
culture, like just a
You're
little bit of
trying to
everything.
figure out what are these milk brands at the
Yes,
shops.
you
What
know?
are, who is my mama boga?
Yes.
Who's gonna work for me in my house if I need a house
You know,
worker?
oh, by
There's
the way,
a
can I
lot.
give you a quick story?
Yeah.
Me, one of the things I'd said
Yeah.
is I am not going to have someone doing anything for me because I did everything in the States. I mean, for those of you who are abroad, you know, we do everything, right?
Yeah.
You cook, you clean, you laundry, like literally. So I literally had a system, and the girls had a system. They need to make their beds,
Yeah.
like all that was working.
Yeah.
And so when we moved in, when we came back, our staff hadn't arrived yet. Because we moved the whole house. So our staff
Yeah.
hadn't arrived
I
yet.
remember that. Yeah.
And so it was laundry had piled up. Now, fun fact, I hate doing laundry, girl. Like even with a washing machine, I just don't like laundry. It's one of those things, yani me. Laundry is one of those things I just never got that bone in me. And I was like, our neighbor was like, no, Roseanne, I can get you someone to wash your clothes for you. And I was like, no, I got this. And I remember washing.
Oh, you didn't got this.
I didn't got this. I did not got this, girl.
Did you peel?
That's where I was going. Of course, you know the story. My fingers peeled. And I was washing jeans. And you know, jeans are hard. Jeans are hard to wash with the hands.
Yeah.
My fingers, my pinkies, they bled.
Oh man.
And when I was like, in fact, I think I left a couple of things. I was like, I called them like,
Can't do this.
who's going to help me? So I hear you about transitions. I hear you about transitions.
Are
Yeah.
hard. And then you're both transitioning differently
That's
and
true.
settling differently.
That's true.
Maybe you come with a spouse that's got a job already,
Which is what happened.
Which is what happened
Yeah.
for you. So you were feeling left behind in a
Yeah.
sense, like we're not doing family the way
Yeah.
we used to do
Yes.
it. And so your marriage is impacted by transition, and those are points that you want to find someone who is an objective person
Yeah.
to help you work through that.
Help you.
So,
Does that look good?
This looks good.
Okay,
Looks
good,
nice
good.
and smooth.
And that's how I would have mine. In fact,
Right.
there's a girl I was telling, just literally over the weekend, and I was like, oats don't have to be like a
Smooth.
porridge.
No.
It doesn't. It's literally what you want. And what I love about rolled
Yeah.
oats,
Yeah.
there's a chewiness to them, so they actually taste good. But what even makes them great is once we begin to add
The seeds.
these cute little things. So you want to go ahead?
So I will add a teaspoon of these,
Okay.
and I'll use my teaspoon here.
Okay. So that's hemp seeds.
That's hemp seeds. Just one.
Just one.
Pick one and one.
But also look how pretty. Like
It's
I
already
love.
looking
It's
so
already
good.
looking so good.
It's
It's already
already
looking so pretty.
And then I'll go with
Pumpkin seeds?
Actually, how about we do the more powdery ones
powdery
first?
Okay.
So we'll do some.
Okay. That's
flax.
what Irene is our lady of order. Just because I know her. She's like, let's do powdery first. Me at best be like, I just as long as they're all in there.
Yeah.
But without you,
So
without
that's
you. Okay.
looking good. So let's do the chia
Chia seeds.
seeds. Again, 1 teaspoon.
Okay.
And I can, it doesn't have to be exact.
It doesn't have to be exact. Like
But,
have fun with
you know,
it.
Have fun with it.
Have fun with
And
it.
develop a taste for what you like.
That's it.
Right?
Actually, I like that. Develop a
Yeah.
taste for what you like.
Yeah.
So now as you're coaching, because another thing that you do, Irene, is you coach a lot of young kids.
Right.
I call them young kids because they're actually
They're young
younger than us.
adults,
They're
yes.
young adults,
They're
young
young,
adults,
yeah.
young adults, young
Yeah.
adults. What are some of the struggles that you found, especially when you do pre-marital counseling, which
Yeah.
is something that you and your husband do, and that's pumpkin seeds.
Yeah.
That's
pumpkin
2
seeds.
teaspoons.
That's 2 teaspoons.
Can I just first talk about pumpkin seeds before we
Please
talk
do.
about? And you guys just, your girl like runs all over the place, so just go with me here. So last year, I started adding pumpkin seeds very religiously to help with my perimenopausal.
Okay.
But you know what? Unbeknownst to me, that I noticed happened a couple of months later. And actually, people on Instagram are the ones who noticed my hair.
Oh.
My hair, because of the
good for
zinc in
hair.
them. It's really good for them. I noticed
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin seeds, really good for
Yeah.
hair. I remember ladies just comment, Roseanne, your hair. By the way, people, this is my hair, because that's another
It is
thing.
real.
It's
not a wig.
This is not a wig. This
Yeah.
is actually my hair.
Yeah.
So the ladies who know me and they followed for many years, so like, Roseanne, we've noticed your hair is longer and bulky. And I was like, it is. So I thought about it later, and I thought, what has shifted? The biggest shift on top of, by the way, everything she's doing here, these are things that I also eat. But I noticed pumpkin seeds and zinc specifically is really good for hair growth. So for me,
That's amazing. amazing.
Yeah. So my
Okay.
daughter,
Yeah.
right now she's in college. She's like the youngest one. She's like, Mommy, remember she cut her hair like 2 summers ago. She has long hair like mine. She cut it and she was like, I kind of want full hair. She's like, what did you do, Mom? So I told her. And now she's adding her pumpkin seeds into everything.
Okay.
All these things. But I told her, Mommy, I think for me what worked was the pumpkin seeds.
There you go.
So, yeah.
So this is
Fun fact.
awesome. I
That
love
looks
that.
really good. Okay.
But should I ask a question about premarital?
Premarital. Thank you for bringing me
Yes.
back because okay, but then you guys, I usually forget. So just bear with me.
That's okay.
Yes. What are some of those issues that you see, especially young adults, when you're talking with them, premarital counseling? What's the biggest thing you would say? Have you seen a theme on the thing that you say? This is the thing I think as young adults you would need to focus on, based on maybe the people like me you've coached or you've helped or you've counseled that you've noticed that happens to us. What would that thing be?
It's how to be partners.
How to be
How
partners.
to be partners, and there are many levels of,
Okay.
of that.
Okay.
But a partnership requires a lot of agreement on, say, boundaries. What are the boundaries that we're going to create around our marriage so that we can protect it?
Yeah.
What are we going to do with our past? Can I tell my spouse everything about my past? What's the place of honesty? What's a place of honesty? What's a place of who I am? Because I bring a temperament. I bring a background. I come packaged. How does that fit into one?
Are you saying we have baggage? I like the way she said it. She said it so nicely.
It
you
is.
come packaged.
I come packaged.
But we
with
have baggage.
We come packaged.
We
with
come
baggage.
packaged with baggage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do we do with the things I bring into the marriage? Good and bad. Because it's good and bad things.
Yeah.
How do we make that into a union? What do we do about being parents? What do we do about our wonderful parents who have now become in-laws?
Yes.
His parents are my in-laws,
Yes.
and my parents are his in-laws.
correct, yeah.
How do we work through that? How do we work through finances and communication and sex and intimacy? I
Yes.
mean, it's not obvious what
Yes,
we do with these
it's
things.
not.
So we work through. It's actually a 12-week program that we go chapter by chapter, topic by topic, and packing and seeing how it fits in the union.
How it fits in the union. So what
Yeah.
I'm hearing you say
Yeah.
is, for this union to work, these friendships to work, what do you find has been the catalyst? What makes it work in all those different areas? What makes it work for couples? Yes, we do have baggage. Yes, we carry all that stuff. But for those that you've seen being able to pull through, what do you think has been that glue?
I
that
want to
helps
say
things work?
communication.
Communication.
You have
Okay.
to talk.
Okay.
Don't assume.
Don't assume.
Talk. Because if I don't talk, if I'm not talking to my spouse, I'm having to make assumptions because I have to fill in the gaps of information.
Can I be real?
Be real.
I don't know if you remember, but in our group, Home Builders,
Yes.
there's a topic we needed to discuss, and I said there's a season we'll miss the next session.
Yes.
What was that? What did I say?
Communication.
Yeah, I said
Hold it until we come back.
I said hold it until we come back because
Yes.
it's an area I know I need to work on. I need to really be much better.
And we never stop learning. I say we stop learning when we have transitioned into death.
Jesu.
You never stop learning because our spouses are also changing.
Yes.
The guy I married 25 years ago, 24,
Yeah.
is not the same guy today. He has morphed. So the way we talked and unpacked thoughts and feelings in year 1, year 5 is different. With children is different. With adult children is different. I mean, like it
It's
has changed
different.
and
It
morphed.
changes.
So don't beat yourself hard in saying I'm not a good communicator.
Okay,
you're just
good.
a developing communicator and morphing through the seasons of your life.
She's a developing
You
communicator.
are. You totally are.
Developing
Shall we switch
communicator.
in this?
Yes, yeah, we're
Let's
gonna
make
be
it sweet.
Yeah, we're
now,
gonna make
I
it
like
sweet.
to use raisins.
Okay.
Sometimes a banana
Okay.
is awesome if you have a banana.
Okay.
But we're going to use raisins
Okay.
today.
Okay.
And again, I'm estimating. here.
She's estimating.
I'm
there.
estimating.
Okay.
That's about a teaspoon.
That's actually
More.
more. That's more.
More
That's
than a
like
teaspoon.
that's a tablespoon.
That's a tablespoon.
That's a tablespoon, and
It's
that's
a
okay.
tablespoon.
That's
and
okay.
then to give it crunch and to give it what's that?
Oomph.
To give it that, I love to use
Yeah, the apple.
an apple. So
I
Use
love
this
it.
apple.
Yes,
So I
okay.
chop it up into small bite size. And
Really?
it can be a green apple.
Yes.
It can be a red apple. It doesn't matter. We
Okay.
have red here today.
Okay.
So I'm going to add that cut that into bite size.
Yes.
Portions.
And in fact, for me, I also like the apple,
You like
and
the
I
apple.
like that the oomph of the
Yeah,
crunch,
the
the
crunch.
crunch
It's
that
just
it brings.
different.
And you know what's great? Like
Yeah.
now, when I look at this meal that you have here,
Yeah.
there's soft, there's crunchy, there's sweet. It's almost like there's flavors that you're playing around with in your mouth.
And your mouth is excited.
It's just excited.
Everything's
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
In fact, let me give you a quick story.
Yeah.
I remember making this for my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad, my dad is a funny guy. Like, he's
Right.
really funny.
Right.
And he said in his Kikuyu, so it's even funnier when you speak your mother tongue.
Yeah.
But he just said, you know what's great about your food, Wanjiko? Like, every bite I have, there's always something inside.
Something
And then
exciting.
Kwanzaa, he says, you just get surprised by a splash of something. It was hilarious. Actually, we were just
There's
dying.
surprise in here.
And there's a surprise in there.
Everything is a surprise.
It literally is.
The chia might be jelly-like.
Yes.
The apple might be crunchy.
Yes.
The pumpkin seed will be
Chewy.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's
So
amazing.
this is a great takeaway
Yeah.
meal. Great takeaway. I love it, and it's beautiful.
Oops, we forgot the honey. But you know what?
What?
I think it's sweet enough.
You know what, Irene? I was going to say, you got raisins in there. The oats are actually sweet because it's a carbohydrate, so there's
That's true.
sweetness.
That's
The
true.
apples have sweetness. But if you do like to add honey, okay, for someone
Would you
who's
something?
you can. I mean, listen, go ahead. How much would you typically add
I would do a teaspoon,
Let's
a
see.
tablespoon of that
on top of this?
on top of this. But that means either I don't have bananas
Oh,
or I don't
okay.
have the raisins.
Raisins,
One
okay.
one sweet thing has to go. Because
Okay.
again, it might be too sweet.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really important point that if you have raisins, you don't necessarily need honey.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Choose
could add
one.
them for kids. It's okay. But for women who are, especially for me, because you guys know we're all about fat loss and sustainability, and especially if you also have maybe underlying conditions like diabetes, type 2, and you're trying to control, those are some of the tiny little things I'd encourage you to sort of just be mindful on and just recognize. If you already have sweetness from raisins, you don't necessarily need from honey.
Yeah.
You also have sweetness from
The
the apples, and if you add in a
Correct.
banana, you have sweetness from the apple.
Yeah.
But if you would add the honey, it would be a spoonful. Now, how do you add? Because me, I don't add honey, so
You don't add honey.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
You don't. So I would just add literally just a teaspoon.
Okay,
Sorry, a tablespoon.
Oh, you
What's
would
this?
add-
This is a teaspoon.
that's a teaspoon.
Just
Yeah.
a teaspoon. And I'd add it.
On top.
I'd do that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And if you like it warm,
Yeah.
this is the point at which I would put it in the microwave for just 30 seconds so that the honey melts.
The honey melts.
So the honey
yeah,
melts.
beautiful.
And then you're good to
Just
go.
stir it.
And I'll normally just pack this in my food bag.
Yeah.
And I'll have it at work at about 11 because I'm not an early breakfast person.
So you literally do take it away.
Yeah.
You literally
I
take
take it away.
I love it.
Yeah.
As we're closing the episode, what would you like to give for? There's that woman who's looking, and she obviously is maybe in a transition, but she also wants to create a healthy lifestyle. I want you to give her 3 takeaways, practical things that she can do to incorporate in her lifestyle, because I want this program to be something that folks literally are able to take away. So what would those 3 things be for you? Either have helped you and you're like, when I did this, or maybe something you've studied, what are the 3 takeaways that you would say, these are the things I would encourage you to do?
Okay. I think I would, in a transition, I'd focus on my condition. I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
If you're in poor condition, you cannot make a transition. Right?
Okay.
And I'll break the transition into the 3 things.
Please.
The first area of transition that you really must take care of is your nutrition. Because if your body is starving or starved, it doesn't have nutrients, it will not respond to the stress of a transition.
Ooh.
So you need to pack your body with healthy food.
Yes.
This, I can tell you, takes me right through the day. I have to think at 4 o'clock, having had it maybe at about 10. At 4 o'clock, I'm thinking, okay, I do need to eat something because I do need to eat. But it's just, so eat things that will sustain your strength and your energy, and you know that you're doing the right thing by your body. Because if you don't, your body reminds you.
Your health is your health.
Yeah.
Is your wealth.
Yeah.
I love that.
So physically, the other physical aspect to take care of is exercise.
Okay.
Because you want to be releasing the stress of the transition.
Yes.
And I know in a transition you want to cover yourself in bed under a blanket and cry or whatever it is, but get out, go, just do what you need to do to keep your body and your mind healthy. Emotionally, it also helps you emotionally.
Yes.
find your spiritual connection
Yeah.
in your transition. Don't isolate. If you're a Christian, you know that sometimes the isolation is what makes you target
Yes.
for bad thoughts and all of
Yes,
that.
yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether you're whatever
Whatever
religion,
you are, yeah.
whoever you are,
Yeah.
your spirituality grounds you. So that's number 2.
Yes.
Then the other aspect to take care of is your emotional and mental health. You want to be sure that you are speaking life to yourself. And if you can't do it for yourself, find a specialist. Find someone that can talk you through what you're going
Yes.
through. It's okay to unpack with someone. Those are the 3 things, because that area of life called your condition is the most critical asset for your transition.
And there you have it, folks.
Yeah.
Condition is the most critical aspect of your life. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Hey Sugar. Thanks, Irene, for being with us. Thanks for the beautiful nuggets. Haven't you guys loved them? If you have any questions for her, please reach out to her. We are putting her details below on the links below. We want you to reach out to her. If you need help, please reach out to Irene. If you need help in anything that you have heard, has spoken to you, you want to begin to take action, this is why we are here for you, to help you take action. And as always, remember, you've got one life, you've got one body, and I want you to treasure it.